Does the fire have the same policies that the EMS? Any of what you said?
With the exception, they do not stay at a restaurant and eat a meal. They purchase the meal either at a restaurant or buy food at a store and then return to the station.
I reckon I've been probably the one most outspoken about this. I have a problem with it. Basically, as I've said before, anytime you catch them where they're not supposed to be, their answer is, we're getting a hot meal. I use some examples. And the biggest thing, one reason is we're taking a vehicle that, in our splash there, each one of us asking for several new vehicles. We're taking a vehicle that can possibly last 3 or 4 years, but because we're letting them ride all over the county, and I've stopped and asked them what they're doing, and I can give examples if somebody wants to know what they told me. And instead of making it last 4 years, we're wearing it out in 2 years. Another thing is the station on 195 here serves basically all of the north end of the county. And personally, I feel that none of them vehicles should move unless they go to the north end of the county. If perhaps the ambulance out of that station were to travel to McDonald's during school traffic and have an emergency, and I use my daddy for an example, it's about 19 miles to his house, so they're down at McDonald's, and we have to call for them to come. Not only do they have to fight the school traffic, but what happens is a train is crossing the tracks. I mean, it's a long enough drive to get there without them getting out of their area. I just think it should be, the policy should be revised that these vehicles are not moving unless they've got an emergency. I mean, we're wearing vehicles out, we're burning unnecessary fuel, and in a lot of cases, we had an incident where there was a death in the county because one of the trucks was possibly at a car wreck, and the fire truck had to come out of another station. I just really think that we need to revise this policy on these things.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. I'd like to have some input from Bonnie Watkins, our EMS director, if you don't mind, Bonnie. Give us some more information.
Thank you for letting me speak. After Mr. Howard met with me and said that y'all were looking at restricting the ambulance from going anywhere in a 24-hour period, I've put this thought thinking about, those guys are there 24 hours, and if y'all want to restrict them from going and sitting down, I think that's fair. Fire department doesn't sit down, but restrict them from going anywhere in a 24-hour period. These guys, most of them come from another job, work 24 hours. They got off at 7 o'clock at Darty, they come over to leave, and they got an hour to get over here, get dressed, whatever, and get over here. They don't have time to do any shopping or go somewhere. And, the idea of them bringing a brown bag, I mean, none of us in here eat a brown bag every day, I don't think. And I think that, even if they brought food, if they went to cook and put their meal on and then they got a call, come back 2 hours later, that food's ruined. And if they didn't bring enough food for another meal, then they go without eating. And like I said, restrict them from sitting down, okay. But give them an opportunity to at least go get something. We have a interdepartmental policy that nobody leaves till 10:30 anyway to go seek a meal. So we stay out of that traffic. And by 10:30, you've already started thinking about, what you want to do for the noon meal. So they don't even get out before 10:30. And they're supposed to stay, and our supervisors make sure they stay within their station area. So they don't, Leesburg station is not down on South 19 picking up groceries because they can't get out of the territory. That's our rule. It's not safe. And like Mr. Rowland said, we need to be close when we need it. I feel like that they at least ought to be able to go somewhere and pick up something in a 24-hour period to eat. You know, you can't always prepare or plan for a 24-hour period. You know, some may, but you know, it's kind of tough, especially when you know as many calls as we do. We're not busy 24 hours a day, but it never fails. Whenever you try to eat, you get a call. And so a lot of food can be ruined that way if they try to prepare them at the stations. And I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying, you know, that they bring food with them when you come in at 8 o'clock. You know, it may be a little tough on them. And especially the ones that's coming from another agency coming over here. And I'll tell you what, we benefit, this county, the whole county benefits from these guys that work in Darty and Lee. They do. They get tremendous amount of experience over there that they bring over here. And it really, really, really helps our citizens.
Go ahead, Mr.
Do you keep a log of your call miles versus your uncalled miles?
We do not keep a log on uncalled miles. We do keep a log on every time that ambulance goes out on a call to the scene, to the hospital.
I mean, as far as your mileage goes, do you have any idea how much mileage we're logging that's non-call related?
I have no idea. We've never kept that.
Approximately though, Bobby, how many, 5 minutes, how long would it take to leave Century to go to, where would you go down to 3 Squares or?
Well, anywhere on South 19.
South 19?
Yes. You're probably looking at about 30 minutes to get down there, get a meal, and get back. You know, come back, bring it back to the station, and you get over 30 minutes to go down and go to the store. You know, now if you go at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, sure, it's going to take you longer because of the traffic.
Traffic's horrific on 19 after 5 o'clock. There's no question about it.
I don't think 30 minutes is too far off.
I mean, do most guys go once a day to get a meal?
Yes, sir. Everybody does.
Bobby, do they usually get the meal and bring it back to the station?
Very seldom. Most of the time, in EMS now, I only speak for them, they usually go sit down. The guys at the Redbone probably going to be able to go back because there's not many places to sit. But Century and 82, I think they probably get something to come back because there's really not that many places to sit. But right. Century and Leesburg probably go more and sit than anybody else.
Are they going 3 times a day or just 1 time a day? Or?
Well, they go at lunch and then some of them go get something in the evening. Very few people sit down at a meal in the evening. But there's more lunchtime sitting down than there are any other time. But the crews do go run by the store, whatever, or run by a fast food place, grab something, bring it back. Very few people sit down in the evening.
How important is it?
Well, a couple of things. One, to get you out of the station in a 24-hour period, you know, so it's a mental thing, you know, get you out of those 4 walls and come, you know, closing in on you. The other is, you know, not everybody can cook, not very good anyway. And so, I don't want to eat my own cooking on a regular basis.
Bobby, let me ask you this. Man spends 24 hours in Darty County. He leaves Darty, he comes to the league. Basically, he's spending 48 hours under roof. Am I right or wrong?
That's the schedule, yes, sir.
Okay.
Plus, you know, I think, you know, it's a morale thing too. I don't think the guys don't want to feel prisoners in their own station. You know, I think that, you know, being allowed to at least go to the store and grab something, you know, is a morale thing too. You know?
Well, I'm just one person, and I stopped them on Pinewood Road one day and asked them what they were doing. They were riding and looking. Maybe they're on route to Dawson to get lunch, I don't know. I've seen them go to the ATM machine. I've seen them go to the convenience store to get cigarettes. Halloween last year, I followed one that went down toward Mr. Duffy's house, backed up to apparently it's his house, cut the lights off, and him and whoever was in there with him got out and went in the house. If y'all want to let them get a meal, that's fine, but all I see is an excuse that every time you ask them what they're doing, they're getting a meal. Now, I'm not trying to be hard. I'm just trying to be efficient now. Y'all decide what y'all want to do. I stopped a fire truck one night. I mean, they were down at the place getting a Subway sandwich.